A popular character from the popular television show Pawn Stars is Austin Lee Russell, often known as Chumlee. Chumlee, who joined the gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas at age 21, immediately won over fans with his silly humor, eccentric demeanor, and fresh perspectives on the pawn industry. Chumlee was an invaluable team player who showed surprising knowledge about antiques and history despite his original function as comedic relief. He has started a confectionery business, dabbled in music, and developed a lucrative brand with items throughout the years. Chumlee is still one of Pawn Stars' most recognizable characters because of his contagious charisma and endearing personality. Birth and early life. Chumlee, whose real name is Austin Lee Russell, was born on September 8, 1982 in Henderson, Nevada. He grew up in the Las Vegas region, where he became good friends with Corey Harrison, the gold and silver pawn shop owner, and Rick Harrison's son. Since Corey's family established the pawn shop in 1989 and became an integral part of their life, Chumlee's early involvement with the pawn business was noteworthy. Chumlee was popular on Pawn Stars because of his lively and carefree nature as a youngster. Joining the pawn shop. Chumlee started as an intern at the gold and silver pawn shop and simultaneously worked at a Quiznos restaurant. His choice to work at the pawn shop was motivated by his long-standing connection with Corey, and he soon established himself as a reliable employee while picking up the industry's nuances. Video games and skating were among Chumlee's early pastimes, which went well with his oddball humor. He would become a massive celebrity on Pawn Stars because of this distinctive quality, where he was known for his humorous comments and easygoing manner. The Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. In 2009, when Pawn Stars debuted on the History Channel, Austin Lee Russell, better known as Chumlee, rose to fame. Chumlee entered the family company at 21 and has been employed in the gold and silver pawn shop for several years before joining the cast. His introduction to the pawn world was greatly influenced by his strong acquaintance with Rick Harrison's son, Corey Harrison. Chumlee began as an intern while working another job at a Quiznos restaurant, and soon after he was promoted to full-time staff. Chumlee was a key crew member when Pawn Stars started shooting, often seen talking with clients, assisting with transactions, and providing comedic relief. Despite starting as a supporting character, his eccentric attitude and humor quickly won over fans. Chumlee immediately distinguished himself with his humorous antics and unexpected expertise in various topics, from pop culture to historical artifacts. He provided a funny dynamic that counterbalanced the show's more somber moments, and his innate charm and charisma helped cement his position on the program. Chumlee brought warmth and humor to the gold and silver pawn shop and became vital to the Pawn Stars crew. Beloved Chumlee. Thanks to his appearance on the History Channel's hit program Pawn Stars, Austin Lee Russell, better known by his moniker Chumlee, has emerged as one of reality television's most adored and unique personalities. Chumlee was born and raised in the thriving Las Vegas region, where he would go on to play a significant role in one of the network's most popular programs. Chumlee's early years were influenced by his family's lengthy history in the pawn industry and his strong bond with Corey Harrison, the son of gold and silver pawn shop owner Rick Harrison. His career would depend on this friendship, putting him in the public eye. At 21, Chumlee started his career in the pawn industry as an intern at his buddy Corey's family-run pawn business. Before this, he worked 2 jobs at the Gold and Silver Pawn restaurant and a Quiznos sandwich restaurant. Chumlee's passion for video games and skating, and his peculiar sense of humor, continued to have a significant impact on his life, despite his employment in the pawn business. Later on, these aspects of his personality would define his presence on Pawn Stars, making him a favorite among viewers and a prominent character. Pawn Stars. The Gold and Silver Pawn Shop in Las Vegas and the colorful personalities that operated it were first introduced to audiences in 2009 when Pawn Stars debuted on the History Channel. The idea behind the exhibition was to display historical and unusual things that patrons who wanted to sell or pawn their products brought in. Chumlee wasn't anticipated to be the show's breakthrough star then, but his eccentric demeanor and comedic relief skills soon gained him admirers. Chumlee became the comedic relief who provided laughter to often tricky situations and lightened the atmosphere as Rick Harrison, the shop's no-nonsense father, and his son Corey managed the business. Chumlee stands out from the other cast members because of his ability to make customers laugh while negotiating bargains, his passion for oddball pop culture, and his memory for apparently unrelated historical and antique knowledge. Chumlee's role on the show changed over time, so he was no longer seen as a comedic relief. Still, a reliable team player, Rick and Corey admired them for his distinct viewpoint and unexpectedly witty humor. Audiences found him realistic and likable due to his sincere interest in the goods brought into the pawn store and his wonderfully silly manner. His challenges. Chumlee's ascent to prominence was not without difficulties, however. His private life came under scrutiny, particularly after a 2016 legal event. He was charged with possession of narcotics and unregistered guns, which resulted in a plea agreement and probation. Despite the bad press, Chumlee kept his position on Pawn Stars. Strong ties within the Pawn Stars team are shown by the public support that his co-stars Rick and Corey showed for him. Chumlee demonstrated his business drive by maintaining his fan base and growing his brand throughout these challenging circumstances. His other endeavors. Chumlee has pursued several business ventures outside the pawn shop, such as starting his own goods line and founding a candy store called Chumlee's Candy, which was well liked by fans. He has also experimented with music marketing and event appearances to develop his public image further. His business endeavors demonstrate his flexibility and awareness that reality TV stardom may come and go quickly. Chumlee's tale is one of development, tenacity, and the capacity to transform an eccentric personality into an enduring legacy. His rise from a supporting role at the pawn shop to one of Pawn Stars' most adored celebrities is a testament to his distinct appeal and the value of genuineness. Despite the difficulties, Chumlee's narrative serves as a reminder that although success doesn't always happen in a straight line, anybody can find their way to the limelight with tenacity and a sense of humor. Chumlee and Rick Harrison. What mysteries lie inside the famous Pawn Stars store? Has friction been building between Chumlee and Rick Harrison? Or is their relationship as close as it appears? Chumlee, the shop's playful prankster, revealed the truth after years of fans whispering about behind-the-scenes strife. Lastly, why is he coming up now after being quiet for so long? This information might completely change your perspective of the most well-known pair on the program. It's not just business talk. Would you be ready to find out? According to the rumor that went viral on social media, Chumlee had been dismissed from Pawn Stars. Speculation over why Austin Chumlee Russell had allegedly been fired from the popular History Channel program had fans in a frenzy. The rumors intensified when perceptive fans discovered he had removed earlier posts and altered his Instagram profile. But Chumlee wasn't one to let whispers get out of control. Equipped with his trademark sense of humor and his phone, he took the issue directly to the source. Rick Harrison is the ideal person to handle it with. The conversation. Chumlee entered the gold and silver pawn shop and captured the whole interaction for his Instagram story. Chumlee started by saying, "Rick, there's a rumor that I got fired," in a lighthearted but direct manner. Naturally, Chumlee wasn't going to stop there. Rick hardly raised his head from the antique he examined and said in his usual direct style, "You didn't get fired." Rick said nothing, but his deadpan look remained unwavering as he said, "Do you wish you could fire me?" His expression conveyed as if he was thinking quietly, "Do you want the answer?" Squashing the rumors. Chumlee again showed why he is an essential member of the Pawn Stars family after the allegations were dispelled and the fan interaction went viral. The dynamics of the business were a little more complex off-camera, however. The relationship between Rick and Chumlee has always been a peculiar blend of patience and frustration. The two have entertained audiences for over 15 years with humor and eccentric chemistry. However, Rick would rather stay out of sight after the cameras stop filming. Rick, the sour captain of the Pawn Stars ship, often implies that Chumlee's antics are best appreciated sparingly. Nevertheless, the success they have created together cannot be denied. With 21 seasons filled with strange artifacts, in-depth historical analysis, and plenty of humor, Pawn Stars has been a favorite on the History Channel since its debut in 2009. The squad was still going strong in the middle of 2023, when the main series concluded its 21st season. For Pawn Stars Do America, a spinoff, Rick, Corey Harrison, and Chumlee traveled the nation in pursuit of unique finds. Filming for Season 22 of the main series had already begun by early 2024, while the spinoff was in its second season. An evolution. For Chumlee, working at the gold and silver pawn shop was more than just a job. It was an evolution. The three went to Las Vegas, where fans could expect more of Chumlee's quirky comedy, such as his well-known query, "Is this worth more if I lick it?" He and Corey had been buddies since elementary school when they got into a fistfight over a misunderstanding. Although it turned out that she had the incorrect person, Corey's sister had accused Chumlee of tormenting her. After all was said and done, Chumlee and Corey were inseparable. Chumlee's position at the pawn store and on the program finally resulted from their connection. Chumlee began working as an intern at the store at 21 while working 2 jobs. He learned the ropes at the Gold and Silver at night and worked as a manager at Quiznos, owned by Rick, during the day. Once flipping sandwiches and hawking antiques for 135 days, Chumlee became a full-time pawnbroker once Pawn Stars debuted in 2009. Fan favorite. Chumlee immediately won many fans with his humorous antics, pop cultural expertise, and occasional flashes of genius. Although he may have begun as comedic relief, he developed a following over the years and gained the respect of even Rick, who is often doubtful. Chumlee's life had its ups and downs outside of the store. He celebrated his remarkable 100-pound weight reduction with his marriage to Olivia, which was consummated in a secret ceremony last year. Although Chumlee worked in Vegas and Olivia attended USCB, their long-distance romance has been complicated. He often expresses his emotions on social media, writing sincere posts about how much he misses the little things, like having supper with his wife or waking up next to her. "We have the rest of our lives together," Chumlee said in a recent post, expressing his optimism despite the difficulties. Fun-loving goof at heart. In addition to providing comedic relief on Pawn Stars, Chumlee was the show's lovable, silly protagonist and the one who gave the pawn shop industry a whole new feel. The Harrisons kept Chumlee in the background when the program began, but they soon discovered something crucial. Chumlee was a covert weapon. Even when he didn't appear to know what he was doing, he had a knack for making people grin. He wasn't simply the person acting foolish and cracking jokes. Chumlee was not as ignorant as he seemed. He was full of surprises, so when he casually revealed that he was skilled at pinball machines, fans were like, "Wait, what?" Sure, he was the guy who fooled about Rick and Corey. The person behind that silly smile was much more knowledgeable than most people realized. Chumlee being Chumlee. Chumlee had been employed at Pawn Stars for almost 5 years when the show debuted. However, as the cameras started rolling, his popularity skyrocketed. He wasn't afraid to pose odd and eccentric questions to Rick and Corey, which caused people to chuckle and pay attention. When it came to the antiques, Chumlee was more than simply a jokester. He was interested in the background of the things brought into the store. He sincerely wanted to hear the backstory. It wasn't just about the business. Not to mention that he was skilled at negotiating the most excellent prices for the store. He could smell it. Rick, the shop's brain, was in charge of ensuring that everything went without a hitch. He had the idea for the program and the pawn store. He put forth endless effort to ensure that everything came together. The most admirable aspect, however, was his relationship with Chumlee. Chumlee joked in one interview that Rick would give him directions and he would act as if he didn't hear them. Laughing, Rick concurred, stating that they had a fantastic working relationship despite Chumlee's periodic disappearance when they needed him most. Fans adored their light-hearted back and forth, which was pure pleasure on television. They felt as if they were seeing 2 longtime friends be authentic. Off-screen, however, the enchantment wasn't always apparent. The tension between. When the camera stopped filming, fans began to see that Rick and Chumlee weren't exactly best friends. Off-camera, they didn't have as many humorous moments as they had on camera. Fans were curious about what was happening behind the scenes. The conflict between the two was shown in one episode. Chumlee was doing everything correctly while managing a rare currency transaction. He bargained with the seller like a pro and had an expert inspect it. Before Rick intervened and took over, everything was proceeding as planned. Naturally, Chumlee was not happy. Rick didn't have it when he sought to regain control. When the vendor finally left without negotiating, Chumlee became enraged and told Rick he was a tightwad. The pressure was evident to the fans as Rick, the businessman, retaliated, stating, "You'll never understand this business if you don't get it together." There was conflict at other times, and Rick still didn't completely trust Chumlee to manage the critical negotiations. Chumlee, Rick, and the rest of the team often disagreed on how the store should be operated. Everyone had their methods, and the old man would dispute Rick's choices and Chumlee's intellect. Therefore, while the program gave the impression that they were all part of a single happy family, the truth was a bit more nuanced. Chum's got a candy store. Let's talk now about Chumlee's activities. He wasn't only loitering around the pawn shop cracking jokes. He launched Chumlee's Candy on the boulevard in 2017. It had toothpicks, jerky, his candy brand, and other nostalgic treats. Fans were raving about it, and the reviews were excellent. Chumlee posted updates about his candy enterprise on Instagram, enjoying life to the fullest. Chum's got a candy store? Some asked, but he did a fantastic job. Chumlee's existence was not pleasant, however. When police discovered unregistered firearms at his home in 2016 while investigating an assault, he found himself in some significant legal hot water. Rick wasn't happy about the negative publicity, which led to some friction between them. Chum's legal troubles further strained their already tense relationship, and Rick wasn't happy about the bad publicity it brought to the program. However, Chumlee continued, which may have contributed to his endearing nature, always surprising people. The funny guy. If we can all agree on one thing, Chumlee wasn't the hilarious man in the end, even if he was at the beginning. Chumlee mostly avoided problems until 2019, when his legal troubles were reduced to misdemeanors that remained on his record. Off-camera, his friendship with Rick wasn't precisely the best. There is more to this conflict that meets the eye, even if fans knew Rick didn't have a perfect record. To begin with, Chumlee started to get much more attention than he had anticipated. Like that friend who is always willing to hang out despite not being a rocket scientist, he's that ordinary man to whom everyone can connect. There was no denying his charm. People admired his grounded demeanor, which made you want to have a cookout with him. Additionally, several fans speculated that Rick could have been envious of his growing popularity. There's more to it, however. Drifting apart. Chumlee's penchant for extravagant living did not exactly help matters. He doesn't hesitate to flaunt his $5 million net fortune. Maseratis, Escalades, and a 1964 Impala are on the table. He's having a great time with his friends and listening to his favorite music. Meanwhile, Rick is out there attempting to maintain the pawn store while presumably questioning if he has made bad decisions. For Rick, money is significant. Rick was upset when Chumlee's careless spending resulted in a $20,000 error since he's responsible for ensuring the store isn't drowning in poor choices. When Rick learns how much Chumlee's impulsive purchases cost the store, you can picture his reaction. Some, however, have a more straightforward theory. Maybe they were too busy to hang together after the concert. Rick has an entire barbecue restaurant called Rick's Rollin' Smoke Barbecue, which was chosen as Nevada's most excellent barbecue. In addition, he is working on several TV shows under Rick Harrison Productions. Chumlee is also involved in making customized films for cameo lovers. Therefore, given their hectic schedules, it's unsurprising that they didn't have time for those late-night pizza conversations. A genius or lucky? At the gold and silver pawn shop, Chumlee Russell isn't renowned for being the most trustworthy person. On most days, Rick and Corey prepare for the next dubious choice. Nevertheless, Chumlee periodically pulls off an unexpected victory, so everyone questions whether he's a genius in disguise or just very fortunate. A client brought in 2 early Black Sabbath LPs to start the day. They weren't just any albums either. One of them still had its scarce poster from the original Vertigo label. Chumlee was fascinated at once. Chum left with the recordings for $140 after the vendor sighed dramatically and engaged in some bargaining. If you know Rick, you know he can spot a poor bargain easily. As Chumlee was finishing up the records, he walked in and inquired, raising an eyebrow, what was happening. Chum brought in an expert to demonstrate that his purchase wasn't a complete bust. To Rick's and everyone else's amazement, the recordings were valued at $1,200. Chumlee was delighted to rub it in since, for once, he had hit gold. The wager. Chumlee wasn't finished, however. Next to stroll with a Philippine insurrection knife was Spencer, a frequent customer. It resembled something from a history book and had its original label. Feeling fortunate, Chumlee lowered the asking price to $600. Then Corey entered, examined the knife, and declared it a $200 error. Things started to become intriguing at that point. In typical Chumlee flair, Chumlee wagered Corey that the knife was worth at least $600. If Chumlee was correct, Corey would have to wear a tutu to walk Pinky, the shop's dog. Chumlee's ponytail would fall out if Corey were correct. There was a lot on the line. They hurried the knife to a specialist, and Chumlee still had fantastic outcomes. Given that the knife's historical worth was estimated at $11,000, Corey was required to fulfill his obligation. The day's highlight may have been seeing Corey clumsily parade Pinky in a fluffy pink tutu. Charles Lindbergh book. But the mayhem didn't end there. Chumlee had also spent $500 on an autographed Charles Lindbergh book, much to the elderly man's dismay, despite a dire warning that the purchase may result in an unpaid vacation. Chumlee hurried to have their book specialist, Rebecca, review the book. It initially seemed risky since the signature was shorter than usual, which raised some concerns. However, Rebecca clarified that it was genuine. After a busy year, Lindbergh had abbreviated his signature. The book was worth $1,500 to her. Since Chumlee was on a major hot streak, he naturally bought an antique kiddie ride to cap off the day. By using magic, Chumlee was able to reduce the seller's asking price by $5,000. By the conclusion of the day, Chumlee had achieved several noteworthy victories, effectively humiliated Corey, and even made a little impression on Rick. Was it a combination of ability and luck? With Chum around, there's never a dull moment at the gold and silver pawn shop. Chum Chum Room. When police searched Chumlee's house, they found many surprises and significant red flags. The notorious Chum Chum Room, right out of a rock star's playbook, replete with a stripper pole, was one of the oddities. The actual headline makers, however, were far less funny. What began as a single gun evolved into a dozen guns, some loaded and ready to shoot. The fact that just 4 were registered under Chumlee's name, Austin Russell, is even more startling. Then there was the Drug and Paraphernalia Hall, which police said was composed of components that were used to package and distribute illegal narcotics. Suspicions of drug peddling naturally surfaced. Chumlee reached a plea agreement in May 2016 to end the court battle. He entered a guilty plea to felony illegal handgun possession and gross misdemeanor attempted drug possession, according to USA Today. He was sentenced to 3 years of probation and therapy as part of the agreement, with the possibility of 2 to 5 years in prison for any infraction. The negotiation. Fortunately, Chumlee escaped prosecution in the sexual assault case that sparked the raid. David Chesnoff, his attorney, attested that his client was exonerated of the charges. But in exchange for escaping jail time, Chumlee had to turn over all the narcotics and weaponry that had been confiscated. Fans were relieved that Chumlee maintained his position on Pawn Stars despite the turmoil. His co-stars supported him, even though his future on the History Channel was questionable. Chumlee's longtime friend and fellow cast member, Corey Harrison, demonstrated his loyalty with cryptic social media posts about friendship and Nevada's lax gun registration laws, subtle but clear support. Rick Harrison, the shop's owner and the show's patriarch, told Fox 411, "We don't have all the details yet, but we're here to support Chumlee however we can." His charm since childhood. Since he was a little boy, Chumlee's appeal has included his demeanor. When he was 12, a friend's father gave him the moniker Chumlee after the endearing but dim-witted walrus from Tennessee Tuxedo. The nickname stuck even more when Chumlee learned he was a silly sidekick. Instead of taking offense, Chumlee accepted it and joked, "Let's see who this Chumlee character is." But celebrity may come and go, so Chumlee judiciously spread his interests. In addition to becoming the first member of Pawn Stars to sell his stuff, he experimented with music and even went to DJ school. His iconic Chumlee rider, which included Girl Scout cookies and attractive women, garnered media attention at one of his early gigs. His entrepreneurial spirit. He has also looked at promoting musicians from Las Vegas, demonstrating that he is more than simply a comedian and TV personality. His spirit of entrepreneurship has paid off. From t-shirts to oddball souvenirs, Chumlee's product line has succeeded. Rick Harrison was compelled to join the bandwagon and agreed to sell Chumlee-branded goods at the pawn store. Through their collaboration, a side project became a reliable source of income. Chumlee and Corey Harrison have a close relationship that dates back to their early years. Chumlee grew up near the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, which Corey's family started in 1989. Before the episode began shooting, Chumlee had been employed there for 5 years. What was his plan to be on the show? The strategy succeeded, and he became a Pawn Stars breakthrough sensation. "I've known these guys my whole life. I will just be funny and joke with them like we always do." Chumlee's loss. But life hasn't always been humorous. Chumlee's father died of pancreatic cancer 2 weeks before Pawn Stars' 2009 debut. Chumlee said he would never part with the handcrafted objects his father built, describing them as valuable in light of the tragedy. In terms of his health, the tragedy was also a wake-up call. Chumlee started concentrating on exercise after seeing Corey Harrison lose weight, and by giving up processed foods, he lost nearly 100 pounds. By 2014, he advocated for moderation, but maintaining a rigorous diet became difficult. In 2016, he had gained 50 pounds back. He had gastric sleeve surgery, which included removing 80% of his stomach after his weight reached 350 pounds in 2019. The results were striking. Chumlee weighed 190 pounds by October 2021 and seems committed to maintaining that weight.
If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon